Mark of Athena is one incredible book.
That's it, everybody. Pack it in. Rick Riordan has done it once again. Wow, what original writing. I'm sure no one has heard this before. But yeah, this book is really good. Dare I say it's even better than the Bible. Sorry, Son of Neptune. I have a lot of thoughts on this book. Not surprising, considering it's the longest one so far. So, let's find out why the Mark of Athena is amazing together. I honestly have no idea where to start with this. As stated previously, this was the longest book so far. 755 pages of pure literary crack. If I gave myself the time to write out all of my thoughts on this book, it'd turn into a 10-hour Mark of Athena retrospective. And since I would like to release this video before I cease to exist, I'm only going to talk about the stuff that really tickled my pickle. Like for example, how well all of the characters and their arcs are intertwined with each other. It gets exponentially better with each book. I swear, I'm not going crazy. Another thing I will touch on more in depth when we get there is Annabeth's entire arc. I swear, the gods watched my videos and have tried their damn hardest to make me actually kind of like Annabeth, and by extent Percy. Whether they succeeded or not, I will touch on in the dedicated Annabeth chapter. Also, that moment at the beginning where Annabeth and Reyna are going for a walk and then possessed Leo shoots at New Rome genuinely broke my heart. I almost started crying because of how bad I felt. Like, no, this was a mistake! I really wanted to start talking about the individual and combined arcs of the 7, so let's start before I implode. Oh boy, where do I even begin? You know the whole running joke in the fandom about Jason being shit with a brick? Yeah, I finally get why. Because he is the brick! I'm sorry, but he was such a wet blanket in this book. I really hated this arc, or more lack thereof. Honestly, I liked him way more in Lost Hero. And if you've seen that video, you know I didn't care for him all too much back then either. While everyone else in the 7, apart from maybe Piper, are making massive strides in their personal journeys, Jason makes multiple jumps backwards. My personal game theory is that his personality stayed back at Camp Jupiter, and that's why he's a bit of a brick this book. Might just be me having the copium a bit too hard though. I'm just really annoyed because his character had so much potential. Rick tried setting up the whole rivalry between him and Percy, but it kind of fell completely flat for me. Aside from their fight while they were possessed, there wasn't really anything outside of a few lines of dialogue alluding to it. I am just praying that this will get better in House of Hades, since Percy and Annabeth will be a bit preoccupied, so there will hopefully be more time to focus on Jason's individual character. And yes, I know that not all of the 7 could have had the same level of development as Annabeth, but come on! At least give me something to work with, Rick. Another thing that really rizzled my jimmies is how much of an asshole he was towards Reyna. More in the sense that he didn't even really acknowledge her, despite them having dated before. Just why? There's more I could say, but let's not beat this dead brick any longer. So, am I the only one who got major yandere/obsessed girlfriend vibes from Piper this book? I feel like most of her dialogue was just her talking about how afraid she was to lose Jason, etc. I don't think she was as bad as Jason Brick, but it was definitely a bit odd to say the least. Also, if you haven't noticed it yet, the chapters are ranked based on what I thought of the characters this book. I didn't hate Piper this book, there were just not a lot of amazing moments for her like in the second half of The Lost Hero. Though there still were a few, which I will list now. For example, her using Charm Speak to make the Eidolons leave Leo, Jason and Piper was a real certified girl boss moment, which I just love. Also, the scene where she used the cornucopia to risk their lives to clean the nymph fountain was simply incredible. I am really glad that she got those moments to shine because, like I said, she's not a bad character. But when she's in Jason obsession mode, I definitely don't care for her too much. And again, I didn't hate her, but I really hope that next book she's gonna have more certified girl boss moments instead of being a shitty Yuno Gasai knockoff. The only other thing I have to say on her is that the scenes she and Jason had on Hercules Island with that river god made me so sad and made me empathize with Piper because she actually felt bad for taking his other horn. Just like with Jason, I really hope next book she's gonna be more tolerable, and I hope her obsession/comparing is gonna be toned down a lot. Okay, so the name for this chapter kind of sounds like a cocktail or something. Hey barman, give me a bitter Frank. But wait, why did I name this chapter Bitter Frank? Well, because that's the only word that comes to mind for how he acted this book. I'm sorry, but I did not expect this to happen, like, at all. What I mean is that his character seems to be purely about jealousy and insecurity now. The reason that gave me such a whiplash is because the last book, he seemed to overcome his insecurities, and he became a more confident guy. So his character seems to have regressed a bit, which makes me quite sad, because he was one of my favorites. The jealousy, however, I totally understand. I'd be jealous too if Leo was flirting with my girl, like, goddamn, I wish he'd flirt with me. However, the insecurity might also just be because of the jealousy, since the guy who's flirting with his girl can literally summon fire at will. And well, since his life is tied to a literal piece of firewood, I can imagine that would scare him a little. And the fact that the house he grew up in burned down last book. To be fair, I did expect there to be a love triangle in this book, between Leo, Hazel and Frank. I mean, I literally called it in my last video. But I definitely ship Leo and Hazel more now than Hazel and Frank, because of how he acted in this book. I know part of it was his fears kind of overtaking him, but it was definitely a bit too much for me to sweep it under the rug, unfortunately. Maybe I'm being too harsh on these people. I mean, they are literally trying to save the world and they're under a lot of pressure. But even still, I feel like I'm being pretty reasonable here. Ranking these characters was tough as shit, mainly because I do really love all of them, despite their flaws. This is like choosing between my babies and oh my god is it hard. For example, I really couldn't choose whether Percy or Hazel belonged on this spot. So these are my thoughts as of writing this right now, but honestly that might change next week. I really don't know. So, Hazel was on her queen shit this book. She didn't do anything particularly memorable, but she was just a lot of fun to see again, and her interactions with Frank, and especially Leo, were cute as hell. I also felt so bad for her, considering her literal brother was going to die if they didn't get to row on time. And her conflicted feelings of liking Frank, but also really liking Leo, because he's a descendant of Sammy, who was basically her boyfriend in her previous life, were super compelling. This is kind of the same reason I shit Percy and Rachel instead of Percy and Annabeth in PGO. They have chemistry! I know I'm going to get flamed for even mentioning this, but I swear, in PGO, there was very little actual chemistry between Percy and Annabeth, while Percy and Rachel had loads. I will stand by that opinion until it changes next week. You wanna fight? What was I talking about again? Oh, right. One of my favorite scenes in this whole book was the scene where Leo and Hazel had to go retrieve some celestial bronze, but they had to distract Narcissus, so Hazel could use her geokinesis to get the celestial bronze. And just, oh my god, I love that whole scene. I'm only focusing on Hazel's POV here, and we'll go more in depth in the Leo chapter. But I'm sorry, that whole scene was goddamn amazing and really cute. I'm so sorry, Frank, you're great, but goddamn you got shafted this book. Percy is just amazing.
Woo! Yeah, baby!
To be honest, his character hasn't changed much over the course of the series. In PGO, he obviously did have a lot of development, but that makes sense because it was literally called Peter Johnson and the Olympians. Wait. But yeah, his arc is just kind of done from what I can tell, which is totally fine by me. He's a really fun character to read right now. My favorite parts about his character are how much of a silly little goober he is, but at the same time he really cares deeply for his friends and girlfriend. I really don't know what else to say, to be honest. Like I said in the last video, Percy isn't a very deep character. What you see is what you get. Though I do gotta say that his scenes with Annabeth were absolutely adorable, especially that scene in the stable in the Argo 2. I was gonna compare his character to Harry Potter, but goddamn, that would have been an insult, considering Harry is just not a character. He has no opinions or thoughts of his own, and is more just a vessel through which we view the story, while Percy is absolutely his own person. He has dreams, aspirations, opinions on people, disconnected from the readers, which I think is exactly the way it should be done. It makes the story feel much more real, because we're not viewing the story through a limp puppet, but an actual, tangible person, someone who could very well exist. I really would have liked to do a really thorough character analysis of Percy, but I've already been sitting here for 2 hours, so unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave it here. Like I said before, if I ever make these kinds of videos on PGO, when I inevitably reread it, I will try to go a bit more in depth, which should be easier considering that's where most of his development lies. Leo is the bestest boy there is. Yeah, Leo is probably my favorite character. No surprise here. He is so much fun, and the only way I can describe him is a silly little gremlin. He's really witty, caring, considerate of others, and he has such an obscene amount of risk that it's kind of impressive. Like, for real, I wasn't joking in the Frank chapter. Like, I wish he'd flirt with me, for real. But in all seriousness, seeing Leo and Hazel interact was absolutely adorable. I'm so sorry, Frank, but I'm a Leo x Hazel shipper now. It's not that I don't think Hazel and Frank could work, quite the contrary, really. I mean, last book I shipped them hard, obviously, and I do think they could still work. I just think that Leo and Frank have more chemistry, and that's okay. Once again, I'm kind of at a loss for words here. It's much easier to write in depth about stuff I don't like than stuff I really do like. Which isn't bad, but it makes it kind of hard to write a script like this, because this book is just really good. Well, I'll just list some of my favorite Leo moments this book. My favorite scene was absolutely the one under the Colosseum, in that room with a bunch of Archimedes' inventions. The way he was info dumping about Archimedes and the contraptions he found in the room, it was just so adorable. And the way he dealt with the Eidolon-possessed automatons was really impressive, and really showed off his ingenuity and ability to think of solutions on the fly. Another scene I really liked was when Hazel showed him parts of their previous life, and the whole reveal that Leo is a descendant of Sammy. Wow, what a twist. It was both cute and sad, but I do think it was necessary to break the tension between them. Or well, some of the tension. I completely forgot the absolute best scene in fiction. Yes, I'm talking about the bad boy Leo scene. Oh my god, I was dying. How do I even analyze this scene? Leo is the bad boy supreme and me and all the ladies love him. Just, oh my god. But, wait a second. If Leo is my favorite character, then why is there one of the 7 we're missing? I don't have a funny name for this chapter. I'm just gonna come right out and say it. Yes, Annabeth is a good character now, but she still has problems. It's just that as of right now, her problems seem somewhat insignificant to the amount of epic moments and good development she's gotten. Genuinely, I feel like Rick watched my first 2 videos, went back in time and wrote Annabeth in such a way that I just had to like her. I think the main reason why her character took such a drastic turn for the better was due to, ironically enough, the Mark of Athena. I fully believe that if she didn't have to do this quest, I still would have disliked her, and I would keep getting crucified for not liking her. I do, however, still believe that Percy and Rachel had more chemistry back in PJO. But seriously, forcing her into this one-person quest really showed her flaws, fears, and insecurities, which is the best way to build character. I talked about this in my Lost Hero video, but I'll briefly repeat myself. People like seeing flawed characters because it's relatable. Everyone has flaws, so when you see a character in a book or movie who makes mistakes, or isn't always perfect, you start to care about them because they start to feel like real people, and not caricatures of these sort of gods who can't do wrong and always make the right choices. Seeing Annabeth make her way into the depths of Rome, struggling through trials and tribulations, with only her brain, was, in one word, incredible. I think that the reason I never gave too much credit to Annabeth's smarts was because in PGO, it felt more like exposition for the audience, or just straight up info dumping, which is by far the worst way to deliver information about your story to the audience. But getting to see her point of view and the way she thinks of solutions really put her into a different light for me. The way she fooled the ghosts by process of elimination and making calculated guesses on what to say based on only a handful of clues was amazing. The way she made a splint for herself after she broke her ankle was amazing. And the way she fooled Arachne into weaving a Chinese finger trap to trap her in was goddamn amazing! Just the way she played into Arachne's hatred for Athena and the pride she takes in her weaving to manipulate her into weaving her own demise was absolutely incredible. Can I just say that the ending absolutely choked me up and had me practically screaming at the page to move and get out of there. Oh, that was terrifying. God, I hate but also just love this ending because I finally got to appreciate Annabeth, but at the same time, now she and Percy fell into Tartarus. I am really shocked to say this, but I hope she's okay. Which is crazy because before I couldn't have cared less about her, but now I do. Although, before I close this chapter off, I do want to clarify that she's still more flawed than I'd like. Just some small issues like her hubris and her being a bitch at times. I guess I just like her more because of those flaws now. So yes everyone, I like Annabeth now. Are you happy? If so, good. You deserve to be happy. Wow, what a ride this has been. Before I say anything else, I just want to thank everyone for the support of my Lost Hero and Son of Neptune videos. I seriously would have never guessed them to do this well, so just thank you! I hope I can continue to meet everyone's expectations and continue to make these projects for everyone to enjoy, and more importantly, me. I could say more, but I am tired, and this script is already long enough. Join my Discord, follow my socials, and like and subscribe as it helps me immensely. Also, leave a comment down below to let me know what you thought of this video. Give some criticism, preferably constructive. Have a great rest of your day, and I hope you get all the happy chemicals you need and deserve. Bye bye!